What's up, guys? It's Benny. Something very strange just happened at the White House that has shattered the internet in two. Donald Trump and Pam Bondi both responding furiously to a reporter that asked a logical question about the DOJ's own unsigned memo absolving Jeffrey Epstein and everybody he ever knew of all crimes, saying that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, he had no client list, he had never blackmailed anyone. Really, really odd. Anyway, it is the talk of the entire internet, and many people have many questions about it. And Donald Trump and Pam Bondi's response here, especially about the missing footage from the security tape outside of Jeffrey Epstein's cell, and we'll get to that in just a second, isn't going to stop people from asking questions. In fact, it's going to make people ask more questions. President Trump said, "Why would you like to talk about Jeffrey Epstein?" But the reality is Donald Trump started his presidential run in 2016 by talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and very smartly so. A genius move by Donald Trump here on stage in 2015. When asked about Bill Clinton, Donald Trump said this.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
And you can tell that Sean Hannity didn't even know what the hell he was talking about, right? Because nobody really knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. In fact, it was Donald Trump who, in many regards, popularized Jeffrey Epstein because he talked about this during the 2016 cycle. Now, this is after Jeffrey Epstein had charges for being a sex trafficker. That happened in 2008. But before he was charged federally, that happened in 2018. And so it was Donald Trump who really brought Epstein into the public arena by bringing him up multiple times during the 2016 campaign.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So
it's amazing to watch stuff like this. Trump was telling us the entire time who Jeffrey Epstein was and who his clients were, in fact. You know, Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein, like nobody had even heard of this stuff before. Bill Clinton and the island, nobody had heard of it. Trump popularized this stuff, and good on him, as we have covered time and time again on this program. There is zero evidence connecting Donald Trump to any of the more lurid, evil, and despicable things that Epstein did. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Who would know? Well, the prosecutor of Jeffrey Epstein, who was the only person on earth who was able to get a successful prosecution against Epstein, said that only President Trump helped him out in this. Trump is the only person who picked up the phone and said, "Let's have a talk. I'll give you anything you want, all the information." And the information led, in part, to Jeffrey Epstein's only prosecution in the state of Florida for sex trafficking and prostitution. Donald Trump then kicked Epstein out of his club, banned him, and was never seen with Epstein again, after having a cursory relationship with Epstein through the late 1990s and early aughts, as Epstein was, of course, working as an intelligence agent, clearly running a blackmail operation. So Donald Trump was one of a massive Rolodex of very famous and powerful people Epstein was trying to worm his way in with. Okay. The point is that the Streisand effect applies here. I'm going to play you this clip that everybody is talking about. It's wild. This is Donald Trump responding to a very logical question about the DOJ's non-release of any information and closure permanently of the Epstein question, which is insane. Here we go.
Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the stabbing?
Yeah, sure. If
Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
The Streisand effect. When Barbara Streisand says, there's a photo of Barbara Streisand's house that's on the internet, and she says, don't post the photo, don't look at the photo, and she sues everyone who posted it, that's going to get everybody to want to see it even more. You know, responses like this, they don't close the question on Epstein. In fact, it makes more people curious about what's really going on here. I can't believe the press is talking about Epstein. Do you want more information on the Epstein files now? Yes. The answer is yes. You should absolutely care about an international child sex trafficking blackmail operation consisting of the most powerful people in the world. Anybody who's telling you otherwise is coping or gaslighting. We will continue to ask about Epstein. I mean, it's having the opposite effect, right? This is absurd. Pam Bondi was talking about Epstein. Cash was talking about Epstein. Bongino was talking about Epstein. Elon Musk was talking about Epstein. Trump has been talking about Epstein. He started his presidential campaign in 2016 by linking the Clintons to Epstein rightly. That's a line of absolute proper criticism for Bill Clinton. This is not the time to say, like, it's not the issue to talk about. And then more importantly, this missing minute of footage. So as we detailed yesterday, this is the footage that they gave. It's not actually Epstein's cell. It's not even the entrance to Epstein's tier block in the prison. So it's totally insulting, but also there's a missing minute, as you can see there. And Pam Bondi admitted there's a missing minute, saying effectively, oh, that's just how it works. And it doesn't seem very secure. Remember, the camera that would have been on Epstein's cell was malfunctioning and the guards were asleep. Got it? Yeah. We found the missing minute, by the way. Our investigators were able to find this missing minute. That's AI. And anyway, jokes aside, doesn't seem to be a great answer there. There was a minute off the counter. Every night the video is reset. Video surveillance system was old. Every night had minutes missing. Video was not conclusive for suicide. Evidence prior to it was conclusive. Can you release the evidence then? Is it really so shocking that we would care about a child exploitation blackmail ring run by our greatest ally and political cultural leaders? It's amazing how bad they are fumbling this. The way that Trump and Bondi handled the Epstein question in the cabinet meeting was great. My entire timeline is saying, as we have said, these are unforced errors, right? Now we finally have official statements. I don't think the American people are ever going to let this go. We voted for transparency. I'm still willing to celebrate our wins. But, like, why take the L? There's a lot of W's. Why take the L here? This is unsettling at best. Yeah. Anna Paulina Luna, member of Congress on a D-class committee, saying that it's time. There's plenty of evidence not pertaining to the victims that the DOJ can authorize its release. The FBI cannot release anything without the Justice Department authorization. The task force and all of its members will be asking for that on behalf of the American people. The American people should be free to come to their own conclusions. The Trump administration's in the middle of like some historic wins right now. I don't know why you would take the L on this. This is a very important topic. I don't even know why it was released right now, why it was leaked to Axios. The whole thing is nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. We need to investigate Pam Bondi. She's completely undermined the Trump administration. Direct statements made by both President Trump and J.D. Vance. Reposting. J.D. Vance's old posts are going viral right now. What possible interest would the U.S. government have in keeping Epstein's clients a secret? Oh, if you're a journalist and you're not asking questions about this case, you should be ashamed of yourself. What purpose do you serve? I'm sure there's a middle-class teenager somewhere that you could be harassing right now, but try and do your job once in a while, says J.D. Vance about asking questions about Epstein. J.D. Vance, real tweet. Carolyn Levitt, same thing yesterday. And just kind of like, effectively saying, there's nothing to see here. We have been transparent, but this is just not how the American people feel on this issue. And it's not how it's being communicated, right? So like one of the, the statement that Pam Bondi says, I misspoke, right? I meant to say there was a file on my desk. Not we have the Epstein actual client list on my desk, but even that is being called into question when you put like the actual clips back to back. Here we go.
Tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein.
That's not the same thing. Saying that there's all these victims and then saying that these are just like, random downloaded horrible images. That's not the same thing. It says she's lying, right? Like people who've observant of this and have followed it for a very long time. Right? Trump interrupted Pam Bondi before she could answer a question on Epstein. I'm done with politicians who protect pederasts. I don't know, man. I just don't. People. This is what people are saying. Okay, I'm just saying. This is what people are saying. This is the worst response I've ever seen from President Trump. Probably the only bad response I've ever seen from President Trump. This is really awful response. Trump blind loyalists get their talking points from Trump himself today. You're still talking about Epstein. Yes, we are. Hundreds of victims in sworn testimony. I mean, it's the DOJ is saying that there's thousands and thousands of victims. That's what the DOJ is saying, not me. That's what the DOJ says. So, don't they deserve to have some type of like justice here, and not just have everyone like mysteriously suicided? Yes, people are still talking a lot about Jeffrey Epstein, and we aren't going to forget about it anytime soon. Justice should be done, and the Justice Department is dropping the ball. Wow. Yikes. Hand and face emoji. Pam Bondi. And that's it on Epstein. I don't think people will accept this kind of answer. It feels like they want to wrap it up and forget about it. The days of saying, we looked into it, bro, shut up, are over. Maybe that worked for your grandparents in the 1950s, back when the government trust was at an all-time high. We believe the feds. Not anymore. We all watched you kill a president on live TV. And we all watched you try and shoot Trump. So we just don't trust the government. We watched January 6th, and we watched Hunter Biden laptop. The Epstein case isn't over. It's the Rosetta Stone of public trust. And if we don't get to the bottom of it, then we'll never restore what's already been lost. Says Glenn Beck. 100%, says Elon Musk. The administration is handling the Epstein in the worst possible way. It's a very bad look. Can you give us the Epstein list? Sure thing. We just need to censor the victim's name, and it's gone. It's gone. Trump is misreading his base on this massively. President Trump, you campaigned on revealing the truth about Jeffrey Epstein and exposing his client list. Now people are supposed to forget about it while billionaires and the world leaders get away with participating in global sex trafficking ring. Awful response. Major disappointment here from Riley Gaines. There's a bunch of people that really care about the Trump administration, and this is just an L. It's an L. To be honest and say it. And I'm trying to help. And we've been posting nonstop. We've been posting nonstop about this, okay? What they should do. You could open an investigation to Bill Clinton, right? You must release everything, just like you did with the JFK files. You can start by releasing everything. You're not going to get the trust back. You need to start with like the stuff that's not CSAM, the stuff that's not like abuse material. You could just start with like his cookbooks, his address book, photos of the interior of his house. You can just begin by like trickling out releases to the public. You can start to I'm trying to help. We're trying to help by saying like you can't deal with this stuff by saying ignore it, shut up, we looked into it, move on. That's not how it works, and it won't ever work like that ever again. But it definitely won't work like that in this case, because we literally have too much physical evidence of royal families, kings, sultans, prime ministers, Mossad, other intel agencies, all connected, all diving deep into this. It just doesn't go away like that. It's going to be the Streisand effect. And it's going to bite you. And it's going to suck. And so we're trying to protect the administration, actually, by saying that's what's going to be the pressure release valve here. I didn't make these decisions. I didn't decide on a 9 p.m. at night after a great 4th of July weekend to suddenly like drop that insane memo. I didn't decide to do that. That's the dumbest decision I've seen in a long time. Nobody was really talking about this. There are a lot of other things to talk about. It's the DOJ that actually is the reason why we're talking about this now. Okay? Not that we didn't care, but like there were other things. So they brought it back up, and now they're saying, shut up. Doesn't make any sense. Not to me. Let me know what you think in the comment section. It's your boy, Ben. See you.